Nightly Musers, followers of the pod, faithful few and hopeful many, this is Anchor by Spotify. If you haven't heard about it, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. It's the very platform that allows me to give you what I give you on the nightly. So let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And it gives you the ability to distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and so much more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally FREE free. So here's where you come in. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. That is ANCHOR.FM to get started. Thank you very much. Peace. Welcome to the Nightly Muse. This is your host, Tinayeshe. I am in Numbers now. Lessons from Leviticus is officially behind us. It's been behind us for a while. And now we have graduated to Lessons from Numbers. I'm not gonna lie, I don't have much right now. It is interesting how a book that primarily keeps track of the demographics of a nation seems to be an easier read than Leviticus, even though there was more conversation. I mean, again, you're reading kind of like a narration, so you're still getting that narrative feel, even though it's like, all right, the son of Reuben had this many children, and this is the tribe of Reuben, or this is the tribe of Judah, and it's all these different tribes and numbers and literal like numbers and stuff, and it's a census. And anyway, I'm just here to say that I finally finished Leviticus, and I'm excited about it. And I've said this before, but I think this podcast has helped me, I think, develop some habits that are helpful in terms of consistency. And we say that a lot on the Nightly Muse. Developing habits that bear that specific fruit. I also am finding myself more and more convicted about the fact that, like, I can extend my day, meaning not go to sleep, so that I record an extra episode of this pod, or so that I get a podcast episode recorded in general. And I can do that at the expense of my sleep. But I don't do that when it comes to scripture. And I felt like, man, like, what is it about, even with my health? I just decided, and I took a rest day today, which was necessary, but like, I decided I'm gonna go to the gym 6 days a week, and I did. And this week is gonna be 5 days, but that's okay. Like, the idea was, if I tell myself I'm going 6 days, and I just do it, then on the weeks that I don't get it, it's probably because I only get 5 days. Like, but if I say I'm only going to do 3, then I'm only getting 2, and then sometimes I only get 1. Like, you don't want to give yourself room. You won't want to give yourself that buffer. But I'm like, oh, because I'm prioritizing this, because I need this. And I'm like, man, like, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God. He was in the beginning with God. Like, that's John 1:1-3, I think. Like, we believe as Christians that the Bible is living, breathing, and active, that it is God inspired, God breathed. It is the Word before it became you know what I mean? It's like the Word became flesh. Like, there's life and wisdom and power and truth and salvation, like the keys to salvation in this book, into life and life more abundant in this book. And And it's the very tangible way to spend time with the Almighty that He's given us. And I just waste it away. Like, it's all right if I miss today. I'll just read it tomorrow. But with like the gym and with, and I know the answer. I mean, yeah, like my physical health is more physically, like I feel that. I feel the aches and pains of my body when I am not active, when I'm out of shape, when I'm obviously like overweight and all that stuff. Like I feel the consequences of my poor health habits. And spiritually, yes, I feel the consequences of my poor spiritual habits, but it takes a little bit more to notice them. It takes a little more, yes, I am mind, body, and spirit, soul, body, consciousness, whatever. Like there are different natures to me, or parts of me that make me me. But like I pay more attention to my physical self. I pay more attention to my physical needs. I pay more attention to my desires. And it's like, man, I can just say I'm going to the gym and then start doing it. To the point where today when I took a rest, like there were certain plans that fell through and it's like, dang it. Well, I told myself I was going to rest, but now I might as well have just gone to the gym. Like, I'm like, now at any point when I have free time, I'm like, man, I might as well just go to the gym. When am I like, at any point that I have free time, man, I might as well spend time with God. And this is supposed to be the most important thing in my life. This is the thing that I say is the most important thing in my life. And like my actions and my consistency and my inconsistency tells me that it's not. And I don't know, I think it's a good thing, right? That like my consistency in one area is showing me in the same way. My consistency in this podcast showed me that it was possible for me to be consistent with my health. And now it's showing me like, man, if I can prioritize these two things, what is it that's keeping me from prioritizing my time with God? And because I work for the church, like it's even harder for me to feel like I have to work even harder to spend my own time with God, because most of my job is cultivating that space for other people so that they can spend time with God. And so in my leadership, like that doesn't always feel like that doesn't always feel like relational time with God, with Jesus. And so I've got to be even more cognizant of my quiet time, my Bible reading, my study, my prayer life. And obviously there's more than one way to spend time with God, but like the ways that we know to spend time with Him are quiet time in the Word and in prayer. I mean, it says pray without ceasing. That like sounds pretty consistent, without ceasing. You know what I mean? And I don't do that. I don't have a prayerful like posture all the time. I'm not constantly in communion with God. He is always with me, but am I always with Him? Which feels kind of contradictory, but whenever I feel distant from God, it's not because God went anywhere, it's because I did. And I'm not presently feeling distant from Him, but I am feeling challenged in this moment of, okay, if I can do all this other stuff, if I can prioritize all this other stuff, then what's getting in the way of me prioritizing the Alpha and Omega, the only thing The thing that makes this whole world, this life possible. Very existence itself. What is it gonna take for me to actually chase after him in the same way that I'm chasing after other things? In fact, what's gonna make it so that I can chase after him more than how I chase after other things? He should be the thing I chased after the most. This isn't me preaching at y'all. This is me preaching at myself and bringing y'all into my brain. Like, I am thinking about this in conviction, right? Like, that is something that's stirring up inside of me of like, man, how much deeper, how much closer would my relationship with God be if I approached it with the same energy that I'm approaching my workouts? No negotiations, no passes. Like, obviously listen to your body, but like with God, no negotiations. Like, what if I treated him like a girl that I was interested in, where when she texts me, nothing gets in the way of me sending her a text back? Or my friend, when I am dying to see my friend, nothing is going to get in the way of this scheduled hangout that we've worked to make possible. Like, what's gonna give? What's gonna, how am I gonna make that happen? What will it require? What will have to happen for me to get to that place? And so that's where my mind is. It's not a beat yourself up. It is just a reality check. That's necessary, because at the end of the day, part of what I believe in terms of like, we fight not against flesh and blood, but powers and principalities. Like, that's scripture. I cannot quote it, but I can't give you the reference right now, but if you look it up, you'll find it. It's in the Bible somewhere. Like, I genuinely do believe it's hard, because the enemy, quote unquote, the spiritual world of the adversary wants it to be hard. What we know about our nature, our sin nature, is my heart is bent away from God, and salvation has turned that heart towards him, but there's still that natural bent away from that I have to fight. And so in some ways, I'm fighting the unnatural to make it more natural to spend time with God. If that makes sense. I'm sure a theologian might come after me, but I think what I said is theologically sound. I'm fighting my nature to be in communion with. Here's where the dead things come back to living. I feel my heart beating again. It feels so good to know you are my friend. Didn't know that I could have a friend like you. Learning how to cultivate a friendship with my father. Capital F, Father. So here I am. This is the Nightly Muse. Shout out Lo-Fly. I am your host, Tinayeshe, signing. Peace and blessings. I'm out.